Gentlemen, gentlemen. All right. It's 103 degrees outside today. And this guy called to get a status update. He did not have an RO number, and he sent this in between 2023's workload and 2024. I took on, I'm doing what I call pickup work. This is the stuff that people send up and they're like, hey, can you take a look at this in your spare time or free time? That's one phrase I've grown to hate, and the other one I've grown to hate is one more quick question. Me and Tony at ICA, you know, Fat Boy himself, he said to me one time on the phone, he goes, you know the question that I hate the most? I'm like, go ahead, buddy. And he goes, one more quick question. And I went, oh God, yeah. And as soon as he pointed that shit out to me, man, it seems like all of a sudden all I heard every day was one more quick question. Anyhow, I digress. I'm sorry. Let's dial this back. This amp got sent up and I threw it in with the 2024 workload with the stuff. There is no RO attached to this, and this guy called me and I'm like, dude, I don't have you in the book. You don't have me in the book? I'm like, I don't have you in the book. Apparently when this got checked in, the name on the box up here is what got used as the check-in. Well, I'm digging all over high in hell, and there ain't no other place that this guy's name's on this box except for over, I can't show you, but over here on the back corner in very small Sharpie is this dude's name. So I had to go dig. I dug in here for like an hour and a half. I went and I dug out in the trailer for probably another 45 minutes or so. And I found this and I opened it up. I went. Now he told me what he wanted me to work on. This is our first little clue. And I went, oh, there's an Ameritron box. That's right, boys and girls. We're gonna do yet another Ameritron. What is it? The als-500 M for motion lotion. I don't know. All right, so let's see here. What do we got? We got some stickies. The stickies are so old they're dried out. Okay. Luke, sorry I could not find the screws after the move. They are in medicine bottle somewhere. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, I don't care. I got you. I got you. Because of the beautiful people here at Patreon, patreon.com. If you've ever considered supporting a YouTube channel, I would like to be the recipient of that support via the Patreon channel. So far, the Patreons this week just alone have gotten to see some really cool powder-coated cabinets that I'm getting ready to employ that nobody else in the world's gotten to see. And also, they've gotten to see behind the scenes and have gotten to see the very first pictures of the version 2. It is in production, and I'm going to have a copy of it here pretty quick. Of course, as always, we will do a YouTube video upon it for all of you guys to consume, love, and dance upon, enjoy with. Kumbaya, digital bird meter, kumbaya. It's like this mythical creature that lives up in the Smoky Hills of Alabama or some shit, right? Okay, the digital meter has been chased for many years by many men who have tried to conquer it. And it's like that elusive hot chick from high school. No matter what you try, she never lets you touch her boobies. We're getting closer. We're almost there. Anyhow, needless to say, after a little bit of scientific investigation and a little bit of getting out the frickin' monocle and a little bit of a magnifying glass, I was able to find this guy's amp. Okay, my name is omitted for, well, this was sent up here by my buddy Gerald. He's a cool cat. Crazy Charlie's neighbor. Crazy Charlie is a badass dude. He used to bring me over these big giant slabs of salmon. He lives over there in the Portlandia, Oregonian kind of neck of the woods, and he was driving truck back and forth. And he had a friend of his that was a Native American something, and he'd get these giant sides of salmon, and he'd smoke them and bring them over for me and my wife. I built him an amp and a driver and repaired a bunch of amps for him and stuff. Yeah, he was the guy that sent this was a neighbor of Crazy Charlie's. That's how he got to know me, blah, 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 He moved to Idaho. This is the als-500 for you-know-who. Here's his phone number. You had a recent discussion with him. I presume you guys will verify what... Yep. Okay, so we can ignore the notes, and we can just get right down to the meat and the grits of things. Let's get this out of here. Save these for later, because we will reuse these again, I swear to God. We're going to reuse the box, the foam condom inserts, the whole 9 yards. We'll slide it back up in there, and we won't have to huck to it on it or anything. It'll slide right in the hole. Okay. Face of the amp is in mint condition. We want to be very careful when handling these things. Let me show you what I mean. Let me run over and grab another one that I got sitting over here. Where'd you go? Here you are. Okay. Ameritron, in their infinite wisdom, have a cover on their faceplate that is, well, as you can see that? There's really no way to fix this. We've tried heating this up. I've squirted glue underneath it. There's all kinds of things I've tried. And there's just a hard plastic liner on the outside, and if this even gets caught by your finger at any time, you end up having this air bubble. So, this amplifier is air bubbly free, so they say. I gotta come back to this other Ameritron amplifier because, well, everybody has their turn. People get pissed if I let people jump in line. I imagine that. So let's take a look at what we got. Okay. This has got RFT PP100 16XH. I swear I could get with North. I wish I could get with North and have him send me a sheet on what crosses with what. So these are, well, these are Haigu International, don't know, Chinesiums, right? Ooh, that looks good. Sorry, my eyes just caught something. I'm sitting here staring at this as I'm monologuing. This thing's been overdriven a little bit. The flyback suppressors are been hot, and then there's a couple blown up parts. So, HG produced all of these parts, like for X-Force and a whole bunch of other companies, and they put their own custom part numbers on there. The problem is nobody gave us a spreadsheet on explaining what generation and what iteration of transistors go with what. Okay, so there are no crosses. If we blow one transistor in this mess, we have to replace all 4 because there are no cross components. He changes the design about every 6 months. It's like, let's look at the 2879C transistor. There's now 4 or 5 different iterations of that. None of them work with each other. Some of them work really well, some of them don't, and that's why I've made a hardcore pass on that transistor. I don't use them. If I was to sell 5 amps of the 2879C, I'd have to make sure I'd have like 200 of those transistors sitting on the shelf so I could support those amplifiers for the rest of their existence, right? Does that make sense? It's called legacy support. Well, in this world and day and age, we don't do a lot of legacy construction, legacy support, except for what I do here and what some others are doing as well. It's hard to keep that many parts on hand and have, I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to take $1,000 and put it in transistors and then sit them on the shelf, and maybe 1 out of every 1,000 amplifiers I work on, I might use 2 of them. It's impossible, right? It's impossible as a small hobby farm shop, largest in the world, by the way, to do that kind of support. But we've had some serious malfunctions in this section of the amplifier alone. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to quit talking and using my words to humiliate myself. And let's see if you guys can spot the problem. You see it yet? There's 3 very distinct broken parts all in a row. Like literally all in a row. Here, let's take this out of the way. This little disc capacitor, if I touch it, it's going to fall apart. This capacitor here is seeing better days. I believe this is a 104. We'll very carefully take this out of here in a minute, and we'll see what's going on. And so is this electrolytic. It has also seen better days. If we look over here at this one, we see how this lid is flat. Well, this is a burst panel. That's the reason these little divots are cut in the lid, is to keep this from turning into a bomb, a little tiny bomb, right? So this is designed to fail. So if the plates inside the cap start to short out, they will spit love and their juice out through that vent, and it's a design failure point in the capacitor. So that tells me we've got some burnt components. Let me pull this label off on the inside, and you'll say, but BBI, there's nothing burnt. There's nothing burnt. Wrong. That's where all the cum stump stain came out. The schmook, the magic schmook that makes everything work, came out on the lid. It sits like this. So we have some problems. Just some small problems. And then if we let our eyes really relax, we can see that this one, this one, this one, and this one are all burnt. The harmonic suppressors were working overtime. Sometimes, not often, but sometimes. Especially on a mobile amplifier like this, if you're using it on a non-specifically frequency tuned antenna, and as you're dialing up your match with your antenna match network, you're either going to burn up these resistors back here, or for a moment, as you're dialing in your match, you can drop into a little bit of momentary harmonic oscillation, and these will suck up the difference. I call these flyback suppressors. That's my words. That's not a technical term in any way, shape, or form. How they operate inside the circuit is they suppress harmonics, and they're technically called a harmonic suppressor. But I call them flybacks because they have a tendency to keep the transistor and the circuit from having a back and forth oscillation that can go in a circle. But here's another thing I think is very interesting. Oh, it is actually soldered in, even though it looks like it's ready to fall out. Here, let me zoom in on this. The solder work, focus, you little shithead. The solder work is always MFJ top-notch quality. Only about a third of this. I can literally get my screwdriver underneath there. Let's get this out of the way. I can literally get my screwdriver underneath there. I mean, it's just top-notch, right? Just top-notch. But we've definitely had some oscillation. Most likely got a couple dead transistors. Nothing I can't fix in assured, hurry, quick order, but damn. Damn. This gentleman has decided to go ahead and put all the beans and the whistles and the franks and the sausage on top of this. He wants to do power wire upgrades. He told me, he goes, you got any of them Toshiba good transistors sitting over there? And I'm like, yes, I got lots. He goes, good, I'd like to spend big money. I said, yes, man. I got you. I got you. We will hook you up. So, we're going to dive in. We're going to repair the RF deck first. So we'll get all these transistors pulled out. We'll put them on the transistor checker. We'll see what we got for gains or what's left in operation, what's not. Then we'll throw all these used parts. If there's anything that's good, we'll throw them in the used transistor pile, which you guys have seen is vast and huge, large and expansive. It takes up the whole workbench when I get them all out. Usually 2 or 3 transistor flats worth of used parts. And they come from situations like this where we've obviously had a failure, but we might have one or two good parts over here. Well, if they're still good, I throw them in a pile. I have all these old RF part transistor flats that hold 25 transistors a piece. I don't remember when Toshibas used to come in the flats. Well, I kept all of those. I kept them originally so I could track how many of them I was using, but now they're used to store. That looks a little sus to me. Hold on. Oh, son of a bitch. Let's see. That's a little sus to me, just saying. We'll get that fixed up for the guy. I use them to hold the extra parts because just in case somebody says to me, hey man, you know, I don't really quite have the money for all 4 new Toshibas, or I don't have the money for 4 used Toshibas, or I don't have the money for 4 new HGs. Do you have any missing, or you know, any transistors you can slide in there for relatively cheap? I will go look. I go dig through that pile of extra parts, and then I find, oh hey man, I've got, you know, let's say you blew up one transistor. I happen to have a PP100 16-X-8- unknownium crostidium transistor, and then I go and I test them, and if the beta gains match, then I can reuse that part and get the guy fixed for very, very cheap. I don't trust these transistors, and I make it very clear when I discuss it with the person on the phone. Hey man, use parts, going to see what we can do to get you running. 9 times out of 10, it's enough to get them running, and I get, you know, they can get a couple more years out of the thing before the other parts decide they're going to turn titties up and run away. This guy's opting for good old school, high dollar, made in Japan transistors, which this device was generally and most definitely was designed to work with, was the Toshiba transistor. And when they couldn't get the Toshiba transistor, they didn't want to stop this product run because it was still a viable product for them. They started using these HG knockoff transistors, the Chinesium components. And you can tell they were buying them from anywhere because of that PP100 part number. Gee, I wonder who they bought them from. Just saying. Okay, enough. I babble on, I babble too much, I speak with my big boy words, and nobody's listening to the words I have to say. Half of you, statistically by the way, have already tuned out of this YouTube video. Also, another 80% of you that are going to watch this video, statistically in the analytics, are not subscribed. I wish that you would click the subscribe button. I wish you would hit the like button. I wish you would leave a comment. You know, tell me I'm a fat bastard with a hairy navel. I don't care. Make a comment. It all helps with the algorithm, but statistically, 80 to 85% of my views that I get are from non-subscribed people. I mean, if you look at the numbers that I get, sometimes I'll have 45,000 views, and then the next video I'll have 1,200. Well, I've got 32,000 of you guys subs here on this format on YouTube. You would think that statistically, I would probably have a little bit higher numbers, like 25 or 30,000 views per video. That's not how this works. The algorithm dictates what it's going to dictate. Yeah, both of these disc capacitors are burned up. Wow, what happened here to cause this to blow up? The only thing this cap does, this green cap does, is help make the circuit for the 12-volt side not resonant, so RF does not want to go up it. No uppity up, the output nuppity nup. Yeah. All right, let's get to it because we're going to have to do quite a bit of little disassembly here. We got to take this off. We might end up actually having to take the whole board off because of this cap. Because of that cap right there. Well, let's see. Pitter patter. Let's get after her. Hit subscribe, you guys. And if you enjoy the content that I produce, well, think about joining Patreon. There's some cool kick-ass shit that goes on there that none of y'all ever get to see. It's just for Patreon, don't you know? The board is so shiny that I have to have the gain turned way down. That's why it looks a little discolored. But I was sitting here pulling this section apart because obviously the problem is from this section of the amplifier. I thought I would start here. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room, and I know that by a country mile. But I do know enough to stop and film a video segment when I figure out why the box blew up. I go and I pull these resistors off of this side, and you see it now? I might not be a smart man, Jenny, but I know and I see some bullshit. What happens when we short the inputs together? This looks like this has been in there for a long, long time. This came from the factory. Quality control is a thing, y'all. And that makes me question if they even tested this thing before it left the factory. Okay, I'm going to continue. When we come back, the transistors will all be out. I just needed to document that for your all's sake. Let me turn the gain back up so we can get our color back. Just wanted to show you. Okay, moving on. Enough. You know, I never thought the day would come where a Meritron would not be an existent thing, right? There's a big hole in the market for a solid state all band amp now. Big, right? Somebody out there wants to go and get all the type certifications and maybe rebuild something like this. Man, print money. Okay, so this is that side of the amplifier. This is that side of the amplifier. Pretty straightforward, right? Let's see what we got. I predict these transistors are okay. Tell me what you think in the comments in the doobly-doo. We'll find out here together. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, I lost. My prediction is wrong. Oh well, won't be the first. It's not the first, definitely won't be the last. Let's bend that up so it's not shorted. There we go. Survey says gain of 24. Okay. All right. Let's see what these are. This is the side that doesn't have blown up smoked components on it. Junk. Wow. Okay. So that means this one's going to be good. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting. 23. All right. Well, I'll throw these in the big giant Ziploc bag that I get to show off at the end of your video, and we'll throw these in the used pile. And maybe they'll help somebody else live another day. Maybe. Maybe. Well, shit. Pitter patter. Let's get after her. I want to take this opportunity to thank my patrons. These guys right here. If you've never thought about joining us and want to help support the channel, please come do that. Come join Patreon. I'd love your support. I just produce the content and then I turn it over to you all to figure out if you want to support it or not. They're the reason that we get to have these giant hour-long segments and road trips where I go interview all the radio legends and all that kind of stuff. It is what it is. So if you get a chance, you think about it. And man, I'd sure love to help this guy because he's out here showing us how to do everything. Check it out. That's all I gotta say. Right now they're enjoying some really cool behind-the-scene content I just put up the other day. It's Bird 43 digital bird meter version 2.0. Little sneak peeks from behind enemy lines. All right, so I want to check the bias, which is good. That'll drop. Which is good. That'll drop. Which is good. That'll drop. Okay. I want to make sure that that was a thing and that it was there and that it was stable and that I can work with that. We have the load diodes not hooked up at the moment, so we're going to see about a 0.5 volt higher than what we're supposed to used to seeing. which is no problem. Those capacitors being blown apart in such a frickin' violent and unforgiving fashion here at the back of the amp here, right here. I didn't want to go and drop in $500 worth of transistors in this thing, plus $500 plus worth of transistors. Drop it in this thing, and then the first time I keyed it, dropped like 14 volts on the parts and fry them all. It's not my bag, man. Okay, so let's unplug this again. Now let's actually start doing repair work. We're going to take out our disc capacitors, and we're going to replace this one that's all flapped apart. Now we're going to actually start to put parts back in it. Then we'll do the power wire upgrades after we get all the parts back in. We're going down the hill. We're skiing down the hill towards the end. Yes, we are. So I got to put 12 volt to this thing and go to try and run it. And look at the nasty schmoo. It's here on the heat sink that come from these 200 nanofarad capacitors. It's the same side that we had this separated capacitor on, and the same side that we had this blown electrolytic. I still have yet to find what would cause these caps to blow up. It's the same side I had this on. This is what's left of what would be 104 disc capacitors on the top. So, yeah, I've never had these caps blow, and they just started sizzling like they were shorted over, and something else is wrong, because this didn't affect the operation of the amp. I've run it, and it only put out about 400 watts. So there's something else in the circuit that is not right. But we're going to replace these 200 nanofarad capacitors, and we'll probably put some Kapton across this. Make sure that there's no high spots where anything can touch. Yeah, I gotta dig into the ass of this thing and figure out what the hell. So let's fix these caps, and we'll put this back together. We'll clean all the thermal compound off, of course, and everything off the transistors, and we'll redo them. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, we got it. This 360 picofarad capacitor here on the front was wiped out. I still have no idea how the DEI HGs or whatever that were in here, the PP100s that were in here, failed in such a catastrophic fashion that it wiped out all the capacitors. But yeah, it's now got all the frequencies covered. It's got 104s, 103s, and 200 nanofarads worth of capacitance on the output for the positive rail. All the caps that failed, all the parts that failed, their only job is to make sure that RF can't back up these wires. It's to try and throw the output circuit out of resonance. But, in the CB world, we only really care about one or two different frequencies, right? This thing, because it works from 180 all the way to your mom's house on 10, we've got a huge diversity of frequency that we have to cover. Hence the reason the upgrade on the ferrite chokes. Yes, we upgraded the plug. All that kind of stuff is done. All the normal things I do to this, we've covered it. I also changed it because now that we're not on the Chinese transistors and we're on the good Japanese transistors, the high quality Toshibas, I can change its output level, right? I can change it so that we can put a full 100 watts in this and it's not going to trip. I mean, it could trip. It's right on the verge, right? So it bumped it up a little bit. We're going to start out on the basement of the floor of things. We're going to do, well, 160. And that's just a scooch outside of this element's ability to read. It's a 2 through 30 megahertz element, right? So Hello, 1, 2. I do have the radio at 100%, so it's putting out 100 watts. Let's go over here and look at our spectrum. Hello, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can't even see it. So far over there to the left. But that's not what we're paying attention to. What we're looking for is any spikes that show up higher than like 47 or 48 dBm down. Okay? Over here. On this side of the screen. Most of our work's going to get done over here on the edge. You'll see as we progress. So here's the radio, 1, 1, 1. Here's the amplifier, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Now why did it go blurry all of a sudden? Where's it focusing? Let's try this again. Amplifier, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So here's our power output. Now remember, we have this set here. We're on 14.8 volts at the moment. So just like if you were in your car, radio drive, hello 1 1. Hello 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Hello 1 1 1 1 1. Now let me show you an old timer's trick. You want to see an old timer's trick? I'm going to show you an old timer's trick. But don't tell anybody, okay? Watch this. You've yet to change frequencies, right? Hello, 1 2 1 2. Now that looks really good on a watt meter. Well, let's go over here and let's take a quick look at this. Oh, there comes our cooling fan. I got it set for 100 degrees. So let's check this out. Radio 1 1 1 1. Amplifier 1 1 1 1 1 1. You see that extra jump? There's going to be a line. It's going to be right about. Let's see if I can find it here with the. Here, it's going to be right about right there. So, hello 1 1 1. Now we'll take the filtering board and go back to 160. Hello 1 1 1 1. Okay, so it looks good on the watt meter, but that's actually harmonics that are being created by the amplifier. And that's why we're seeing the 700 watt. Okay. It's important. So we want to keep everything, keep the shit sandwich all contained. Let's go up here. Let's take a quick look at the front of the radio. We're looking at the SWR bridge right here. Okay. 1 1 1 1 1, the ability to talk through the amplifier. Hello 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, that's the amplifier engaged. Hello 1 1. So 600 watts, very clean, very reliable, bulletproof. So let's go here. We'll change the switch on the amplifier to here. 1 1 1 1, the ability to talk through it. Hello 1 1 1. That's going into the amplifier live. Let's go over here. Let's take a quick look at over here. Hello radio. Hello audio. Nice clean 600 watts. Let's go back over here to the spectrum. Stay focused. I don't want to reshoot this segment. Focus. Because data is important. Hello 1 1. Very clean. Very clean. So let's go on up. We'll go. Oh shoot. Love that this thing's all banned. We'll go here. Let's move the camera over here. Let's look at the front of the radio. 1 1 1 1 1. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. And then down to power output. 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. 600 solid. Back over to the spectrum. Radio, hello 1 1 1. Hello 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay. Now I'm talking with the customer. He explained to me, he goes, look, I said, I can tweak this thing and get it to do like 750 and some change. He goes, I'm not concerned with that. I want reliability and I want cleanliness. Done. So now we're going to jump up to, well, this covers 8 through 14.5. But I know, well here, we'll go right down the middle. We'll do 10 megahertz. So, once again, start out at the radio. 111, radio. Hello, 11111. Going into the amplifier, we'll go look at the watt meter. Hello, 111111. And those are real numbers, by the way. It's making almost 700 watts of power. And the real truth teller, hello, 11111. So every single watt this amplifier has made so far on the previous 4 bands has been on frequency, and that's what we want. I don't care about the amp that makes 1,000 gigawatt and then it's spread all over the band. The only thing I care about is getting it on frequency that's getting put into it. All right, so we'll go on down here. We'll go up to 14 megahertz. And let's slide over to the radio one more time. Radio, 111111. Amplifier, 1111111111. Now we're going to start to see this thing fall apart a little bit. Let's try the other band. Hello, 1111. 11111. Okay. What I did is I switched the knob from here to here. Now what that does is check out the power difference. This is on the 14.5 through 21.6. Radio, hello, 11. Amplifier, hello, 11111. Now we'll back it up to the 8.0 through 14.5 megahertz. Hello, 111111. Leaving it in the 8.0 through 14.5. Radio, 1111. Amplifier, hello, 1111. Okay. We'll jump it up to 14.5 through 21 megahertz. Hello, 11111111. So it's up to you where you want to run it. It presents itself the same to the radio. It does a little bit more power, but then again, we got to look up here at the radio and see what frequency I'm on. I'm on 14.1. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump over to here. And we'll go here, 21 megahertz. Menu, meter. There we go. Okay. Radio, 111111. Amplifier, hello, 111111. Hello. Over here to the watt meter. Should be about 400, maybe 500 watts-ish. Because remember, we're coming to the top end of the power band of the box. Now it's going to start curling off, right? Hello, 1111. Hello. About 450 watts. And over here. Radio, hello, 11. Amplifier. Hello, 11111111. Squeaky as the girl in church. All right, now we'll go to 28 megahertz. Let's go over here. 11111. Amplifier, 11111. We're going to go down here. Radio, 111. Amplifier. Hello, 11. Perfect. Then over here. Radio, 11. Amplifier. Hello, 111111. So beautiful. I think we have achieved all of our goals. We made it more reliable. We fixed all the burned up stuff. I have no idea what happened to this before it got here. All I know is we changed all the right parts. Now this fan, it changed all the right parts and replaced them with all the right parts. This fan is in full chooch mode, and what it's trying to do is blow air in and cool everything off. And right now the heat sink is at about 107 degrees. And the hottest parts on the board are 124. And that's with no recirculating air. It's just sitting here with atmosphere. Okay, let's put the lid on it. Sitting here playing with it at this point. Making sure that internal fan's kicking on the way I want it to, and it's moving air just the way it should. I know one of your concerns was that there was no hardware, and I said that's not a big deal. I got bags of 632, because literally got bags and bags and bags of it. We're done. This thing is thoroughly tested. 104. When's it going to kick out? let's see, when's the fan gonna kick out here? Okay, kicked out at 91.6. Let's get back in it again. Hello, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 audio 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hello, audio 1 2. Here comes the fan. Okay. So no trip, no overcurrent. The drive protection is still in place. The output overdrive is still in place. It's the current draw, and yeah, current draw and fan are the two things I like to play with, if anything. Well, gentlemen, that's it. Thanks y'all for tuning in and following along. I just, I'm not buying this piece of wire being shorted across the inputs would cause all those caps and everything to fill in dramatic fashion like they did. I'm just not buying it. You know what? It really doesn't matter at this point. All that matters to me is that it's running, it's fixed, it's got good parts in it, and this thing is going to go get put on the air and used on a daily, not set on a shelf as like a trophy or something, but it's going to get used on a daily. So, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Say thanks. Shout out to Penna, Siglant, XS, Bird, McMahon, Coaxial Dynamics, and remember Penna, if you use the promo code BBI at checkout, you get like 5% off your tube purchases. Gentlemen, I'll see you. I'm gonna go run off and do other shit. Click, click.